I feel like we've finally reached a time when we can start to grow again.
That's why this week's theme is all about overcoming adversity, such as what we experienced this past year.
Uh huh. Our special guest is Rick Page from Massachusetts. He'll give us his take on an overcoming adversity. We'll also update you on the happenings in the community calendar, including new information on the Pops Train Music Festival scheduled for September 25th.
And we'll feature a song by Barry Dwyer and hear from George about what's going on at Melanonin Cafe.
So if you're ready, let's get started with
The Rusty and Jan Show.
When the world comes crashing down on us, they're always there, and they're always happy company because they care. Oh, yes, they care. And when you need to take out pain, well, no one else will do. Dial the phone or go on Zoom. Thank God there are friends like you. I said, thank God there are friends like you.
Our song of the week is by Barry Dwyer.
We found the song to be insightful and heartfelt in expressing the adversity of substance dependence.
It's called Tombstone.
To a song that I wrote that I haven't done in a long time. Kind of a downer, but it's kind of very truthful about my life. Get up early in the morning and I started drinking my wine. By the time the sun rises, I'm already feeling fine. Left my cares and worries at the door. Hope they don't come knocking no more. Get up early in the morning and I started drinking my wine. I lie in bed all day with a whiskey bottle in my hand. Close my eyes and dream I'm in the world's greatest rock and roll band. All the girls, they would scream my name, and that's the price of fortune and fame. I lie in bed all day with a whiskey bottle in my hand. Hi, buddy. Haven't been the same since my woman done up and left home. Don't miss it too bad, think I'm much better off alone. I have to wash my face on my clothes. Doesn't matter with a spoon up your nose. Haven't been the same since my woman done up and left home. I'm going 6 feet underground with a tombstone over my head. Says stone cold bastard, he's probably better off dead. I could not get the monkey off my back, serve it up some after the fact. I'm going 6 feet underground with a tombstone over my head. I'm 6 feet underground with a tombstone over my head. I'm going 6 feet underground with a tombstone over my head. I'm going 6 feet underground. I'm going 6 feet underground. I'm going 6 feet underground with a tombstone over my head. Thank you. And that's it for me.
And now it's time for Going Out with Rusty and Jan. Welcome to Going Out with Rusty and Jam. We're excited to announce the upcoming guests for our show. On July 19th, we'll feature Julianne Ott. On July 26th, we'll talk to Kitty Campbell. And then on August the 2nd, we'll feature Richard Hopkinson.
Melalani Cafe is continuing to have indoor performances. As always, please remember to support both the artist and the cafe. You know, we've got this whole virtual thing going on, and George is still back there trying to hold everything together, so make sure you stop in even if you're virtual with us. Here are some upcoming shows. On Saturday, July 17th, Barry Bohr and Joe Navidi will perform from 2 to 5 p.m. Sunday, July 18th, will feature Paul Woznicki from 2 to 4:30. Please contact this lady if you are interested in scheduling a show at Melalani.
Our weekly open mic is continuing to thrive. We'll continue to have our hybrid format until everyone is comfortable in performing inside. As usual, we'll have online signups every Wednesday at 5 on Melalani Open Micers Facebook group page.
Yeah. And as far as going live or virtual, I think there's always going to be a virtual component with us. So stay tuned and we will give you what you need.
Till we figure out what form that's going to take.
Yeah. Here are the festivals that we are aware of. We finally found information on Falcon Ridge. As we previously mentioned, it will be a one-day hybrid festival on July 31st in Goshen, Connecticut. It will be held outdoors with a limited number of attendees, or you can view the live stream. The festival will feature 7 to 8 performers and 1 or 2 stages. Unfortunately, they will not be able to have anything interactive like dance, family stage, or activities. They will have food and crafts in limited amounts, and instead of an emerging artist showcase, they will have an online showcase. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit their website at www.falconridgefolk.com. Maybe we ought to do a virtual performance and see if we can't get in that way. You think?
Maybe.
Okay.
The Philadelphia Folk Festival will be a hybrid event this year, and it'll take place on August 21st through the 22nd. It'll feature live concerts at the Spring Mountain Ski Area, limited to a maximum of 1,000 audience members. Instead of in-person camping, PFS will once again offer virtual campsites. For more details, visit www.pfs.org.
Yeah, and we're going to do something down at Melalani during that weekend. So Rusty and Jam will have some sort of a presence, and we hope that you'll come to our virtual campsite or one of the other ones, or consider doing your own. It's not the usual folk fest. We're sorry, but this could be a new experience, and it could open your eyes to some opportunities you didn't see before. So
We had a blast last
we
year.
really did. You know, it's really worth exploring.
And it was nice to not have to go up and down over that hill or deal with bugs and heat and thunderstorms and
Right.
the
Right.
like.
Exactly. So don't whine about it. Just participate. You know, it's everybody's doing the best they can. This is a post-pandemic day. What the heck? X-Fest will take place in person at the Country Creek Winery on September 17th and 18th. Their volunteer registration page is now open at www.xfsmusic.org.
We have more information on the Pop Strain Music Festival.
Oh, yeah. We
Yes.
were down there last weekend. We went down to Tuckahoe Station, saw the train, and got to meet some conductors and people, and we're very excited. It's going to be a big day.
Yep. It'll take place on September the 25th from 10 to 4, and it'll coincide with the Tuckahoe Transportation Heritage Festival. They will have a number of activities that day, including an excursion train, motor car rides, display trains, etc. And they will be in charge of providing them, and we will be in charge of providing the music for the event. So we're looking for other musicians to play sets throughout the day. Wristbands can be purchased for $10 for adults and $5 for kids, and that'll give you access to all of the activities at the festival. If you're performing, the price of the wristband will be waived. And don't forget that we'll be filming footage for the video to go along with Rusty's song, Pop's Train. We'd love for you to take part in the filming.
It's going to be a great day. It's going to be great weather. It's going to be in September. If you can dress like you were in the late 50s, early 60s, that would be cool. And it's just going to be a wonderful thing. And if this turns into something special, well, then maybe my grandfather will have a legacy that'll last for many years. So we'll see.
Yep.
Anyhow, PFS Fall Fling is going to happen in person October 1st through the 3rd.
Yay!
We'll be jamming again.
Yay!
It'll be limited attendance over at Green Lane, Pennsylvania.
And now it's time to see what George is cooking up at Melalani Cafe this week. It's time for
George's Corner.
Hey everybody, and welcome to George's Corner. I'd like to thank Rusty and Jan for having me on their show today. I'm pouring in a little rain, as you can see, from going home from work. We had great music this weekend. Charles and Marsha played on Sunday, and on Saturday we had Beth and Chad Patrick, and that went really well too. So come check out our open mic on Thursday and live music on Saturday and Sunday. Thank you. Bye.
And now it's time for Head to Head with Rusty and Jan. So, did you ever have to overcome something difficult in life?
I'm sure everyone has at one time or another. I myself struggled with eating disorders in my mid-20s and early 30s and spent some time as an inpatient at Renfrew. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to overcome, and I still struggle with mental illness issues like anxiety and depression to this day.
Yes. I know you have, and you did very well. I was always so proud of you. I remember and I remain supremely impressed with your ability to overcome the adversity that you were plagued with.
What about you, Rusty?
Well, what the heck? At this age, I'll probably run across a few things of adversity. The hardest thing I ever had to overcome was the effects of my divorce. More specifically, its effect on the people I love and the unfortunate damage to those relationships. I continue to struggle with the scars of that adversity, and most recently, I deal with the aches and pains of being a baby boomer, and I'm sure I'm not alone.
Yes, between your arthritis in your hands and your low back and other common problems associated with growing older.
Yes, everything else works just fine, though. And our newest addition is my new CPAP monitor.
Eee. So, how does one overcome adversity?
Well, I find the most effective way is to be part of a community of people that hold each other up. We're so fortunate to have that with all of you.
And that's the way it is with the Melalaniites. And of course, it's always a good idea to be in touch with your medical support system.
Yeah, check in with your doctor. Make sure he's dotted his I's, crossed his T's. If you got something unusual going on, make sure you check in, The sound of a doctor saying everything looks good from here is so reassuring. So for our sake, take care of yourself. As a younger man, I didn't really follow up with medical professionals as much as I should have. I was too busy and too many other things going on. And now I see their value, and I don't want to understate the importance of good documentation of your medical status. Have something in your wallet that has your insurance information and maybe just a little list of your medications and a pertinent diagnosis so that somebody who gets to you in an emergency has the information that they need to get started. You don't want them on the phone trying to call a loved one, trying to get the pertinent information. So take care of yourself that way.
Some people rely on faith in a higher power to overcome adversity. Prayer can be comforting and meditative experience.
And on that matter, the healing arts like yoga, tai chi, meditation, Reiki, or light exercise can have a restorative effect. And you know there ain't nothing like them endorphins.
I guess the bottom line is find something that works for you, but don't procrastinate. As Nike said, just do it.
Was that Nike or Nietzsche?
Doesn't matter.
I guess not. So. But when facing adversity, always remember when you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand and nothing is going right.
Just close your eyes and think of us, and soon we will be there to brighten up even your darkest nights. You've got a friend.
At Melalani.
This week's guest has had his own previous and recent struggles with adversity. We are pleased to introduce Rick Page.
This is how our interview with him went. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been such a great year, I have to say, because of the people who've come into our lives as a result of the pandemic. That's the reality of the situation, and we've seen some really tremendous musicians and surprises from all over the country and even in Europe. And one of those great surprises is our following guest.
Rick Page.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
I am well, and thank you for having me.
Oh, yes.
Well, it's really true. I mean, you showed up out of nowhere into the middle of our year, and it was what a great surprise it was for us. It really was.
You came to us, I believe, by the way of last week's musical guest, which was Jay Singing Spirit Cunningham. He invited
Correct.
you to ours.
Yes.
Not that that's anything about the people you hang out with, but it's okay, you know. You do what you have to do. Now, do I understand you met him last week for the first time?
Yeah, on Monday, July 5th, we had a rescheduled barbecue, and a bunch of people who were part of the Zoom world. We got together, and I think I met like 4 or 5 people that I had never met in person. But you feel like you know them so well because
Isn't
you
that
spend so
something?
much time with them.
Yeah.
And so it's like we took up where we left off. It was great.
Yeah.
The funny thing about me, and usually the first thing people say is, "My God, you're much taller than you are in Zoom."
Little Teddy.
I'm 6'4", so you know.
Wow, you really
They
are
see
tall.
me, it's like, you're a tall one.
Yeah, I figured that you'd heard that before. So.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
He's pretty tall. He's used
I
to be 6 foot.
Used to be 6 foot. Yeah, you might want to check yourself. You're older now.
Well, you know, the last time I checked, I said, that's got to be wrong. It looks like there was a half-inch difference, so
wasn't
gravity
wrong.
is winning.
Yep. Anyhow.
So tell us about your musical business beginnings. When did you start playing and writing, etc.?
And what was the impetus?
Okay. Well, actually, it's twofold because I'm a singer and I'm also a guitar player. So then they're married together. So I started singing when I was in the 3rd grade. I went to a parochial school, and I had the nuns, and every story you hear about the nuns is true.
Yeah, I can
So
vouch
we
for
won't
that.
even-
He knows.
We won't even go there, but it's
No,
true.
we don't have to.
But I'll tell you, some of the things I learned in parochial school, I didn't realize at the time, were very important. And one of those, musically and art-wise, was we had nuns that came in and taught us music theory and how to sing and how to sight read. And of course, when you're a kid, it's like, oh, I'd rather be doing something else. But you're a kid and you're absorbing this, not realizing that you are. And so, of course, we were forced to sing. And thus, you know, I sang since the 3rd grade. We always had shows, choirs, everything. And we'd always sight read, and we would have, you know, nuns come in and teach us theory. that I didn't know what it meant. But of course, you know, it made sense at the time. It's like, I'm never going to use this. So time went by. So when I got a little older, my younger brother, 2 years younger than me, and my cousin, back in the early 60s, it was cool to have a group, not a band, a group. And so we decided, well, the three of us, let's form a group. And I said, okay, I'll sing, because I sang. And my brother played guitar, and my cousin played drums, who was a phenomenal drummer. And over time, it's like, we really need to add someone else. And I said, well, why don't I play guitar? And my brother says, no, you're not playing guitar. Well, he went away to camp one year, and every day, all the hours of the day, I went down and I played his guitar. I made sure I put it back the way it was, because he's very meticulous about how things were. And I just played that until, you know, not my fingers bled, but I'll tell you, until they hurt.
Yeah.
And I just loved guitar. Well, he came back and he didn't realize I played his guitar. But a couple of weeks later, we were learning a song, and back in the old days, you would just put it on the 45 and just start it again. And he was having a hard time playing this musical passage. And I said, well, let me try it. And he looked at me, he says, you don't know how to play guitar. I said, yeah, let me try it. So I picked it up and I played it right away. And he was so mad. He says, who taught you that? And I said, I did. He says, you just picked that up and just played that. And I said, well, you know, I played a little bit here and there. He says, you touched my guitar, didn't you? Ma, I'm telling. And he says, so you're going to play guitar, me. I said, okay, I'll play guitar. And thus I had to buy a guitar. And he bought a bass. Well, back then, you know, department stores sold instruments, and, you know, $50 was a lot, you know. So I had paper route, and I saved my money, and I bought my first electric guitar, and it was a Zimgar. And he had a Zimgar bass, and then we were electric, you know, and it's like, all right, we're cool now. And that was the beginnings of it. And I'll tell you, when you start off and you're teaching yourself, you learn a lot of bad mistakes, bad habits.
Yep.
So as time went on and got better playing, I was in mini bands on the road, and I worked with a bunch of really learned guitar players, and, you know, they said, you're playing that wrong, you know, your technique is bad, you know. I said, what am I doing wrong? Well, they said, you got 4 fingers and a thumb, you got to use them all, versus, you know, 3, which a lot of people, when they start off. So I had to relearn and unlearn all the bad habits that took a number of years, and I'm glad I did. But I mean, it was tough when you start off learning wrong.
Well,
So
you know,
from there,
that
Go
really,
ahead.
it's interesting you say that, because there's the whole thing about the thumb. There's many guitarists, and you know, you've seen it. They'll use their thumb in a second. They'll hang it over for the D chord, and they'll just pick up that, you know, the F sharp, and that's just the way it's done. But if you come from the classical world, your thumb shouldn't be anywhere near the fret.
Exactly, you know. So, well, that rock and roll, you know. I
Yeah,
mean, Jimi
yeah,
Hendrix,
there you go.
Jimi Hendrix, you know. I mean, it's
Sure.
like, what is he doing?
Right.
So, you know, you get all fingers, you use them all. So
That's right.
So over time, that's how I got started, and I'm still playing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and I think you really play really lovely. I really do. I mean, we get to see a lot of styles, and everybody brings something special, but you really are quite unique on your fretboard. You really are.
He's
Thank
now
you.
called the Smiling Spider for nothing.
Exactly. He's all wounded. Yeah.
By the way, that story reminds me a little of the one that Jay told last week, except his, you know, he broke his brother's string and it didn't end so well for him.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. So now you're writing. I mean, that's something that comes from inside. Now what do you draw on for that?
Well, for like writing, it's twofold. You have your lyrics and your music. So the lyrics, for me, I'm influenced by a lot of people. I mean, not only my own lyrics, but I'm really moved by, you know, poets and things. So, for instance, I wrote a song based on a speech by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and then I found a British poet called Brian Bilston, and I like some of his stuff. And
Lin
then, of
Manuel
course,
is from Hamilton,
Hamilton
Right.
fame, right, and as well as other things, but that's
in the Heights.
his biggie.
Right.
And but I mean, he's really good, you know.
absolutely.
And Brian Bilston is UK, and he writes some really interesting stuff that, you know, I wrote actually 2 songs using his words. And then, of course, Amanda Gorman, who read at the inauguration in January, I was moved by her words. And then at the same time, I write about the mundane, the crazy thing. I'll talk about, you know, social media, telemarketers, robo-scammers. I mean, everything that we can all relate to. So I'm influenced by a lot of things. So my musical styles, being a child of the 60s, I was influenced by all the greats who are still, you know, influencing people. And I was fortunate enough to have, you know, all that influence from anything from the early formation of rock to progressive rock to jazz.
Sure.
And
Do you think that we went through like a Renaissance period in the 60s and the 70s, and it really hasn't come back to that type of a feeling about music? I mean, some people say there hasn't been a good album since Michael Jackson's Thriller, per se.
I somewhat agree with that statement in the sense that there's a lot of music these days that's, I'm not going to say it's a rehash, but it's just a repackage of what we had. You know, today's country is not like the old country. Today's country is sort of like our rock and roll with a twang, which is not bad because I like all kinds of music.
Absolutely.
But no, I agree with that. The 60s was really a renaissance, or really a birth, or an evolution of music.
Yeah.
But I think music is still evolving. I know that when rap first came on the scene, I couldn't understand it, but it's now morphing into something that's more musical, and it's quite good and interesting. I mean, some of it I don't understand still. I just can't pick up all the words, but the music is really interesting, and it's really a nice mishmash of what's been out there. So there's an evolution that's going on.
Yeah, I have to agree. You're right.
So we understand that you have a passion for alternate tunings. Can you tell us a little bit about that? You know,
I
the good,
do.
the bad, the ugly.
I do. So, having gone through my own evolution of music, you know, starting off with like the 3-chord songs and so forth, and then learning like jazz chords, when I wrote songs, people would come up to me and just say, you know, I really like your song, but it's really complex. Well, yeah, I'm into progressive rock, and that's kind of complex too. But they said, but can't you write anything with like 3 chords? And it's like, that's so boring. And so I decided that, okay, when I first started playing guitar, I didn't know any chords. All I know what sounded good. I'd play something, say, oh, I like that. I can make that into a song. So I decided that I'm going to try some alternative tuning and just play around with it, because I didn't know the chords or anything, and just play. And I found that by doing that, I created something simple in its own self, that there weren't too many chords with it, but it just sounded so much different than everything else. And I fell in love with alternative tunings almost to the point, and this is the downside, that I always go crazy when you'd see a person and say, oh, I'm going to play this song. Now I'm going to detune for this next song. And then you waste all this time while they're tuning. And I didn't like that. So I said, well, you'll need another guitar. So I'll have guitar in standard tuning. I'll have one in double drop D. I'll have one in Dadgad. I'll have one in all these alternative tunings that I discover. Open C, open G, open D. And
You don't have to tell us. You don't have to tell us about people tuning their guitar. Remember, we run an open mic.
Oh, this is so true. But you know what? The tuning you're talking about is like regular tuning. I call it tuning. You know, it's like, couldn't you tune before you went on all this time you had?
That
Whatever.
irks me.
Oh, I mean, some people are quick. You know, they can do it
Right.
while they're talking and you don't know. But others like ding, 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 ding. And it's like, yeah, it's close enough. Do it, you know, and
Do it
let me
already.
get my tune around. Oh, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But going back to
And
the
then they
question.
start to play and they're not in tune.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like real bad. But.
I'm talking about our people. This is not right.
That
I
is not
shouldn't
right.
do this.
No, you should not.
Well, you didn't name names. You just
Yeah, I
saying
didn't.
generality.
People in
because-
general.
Exactly, and this is almost any open mic, even live or virtual.
We're
so
not the
you
only
know,
ones.
exactly.
But you were saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
No problem. So by using the alternative tuning, I played less complex things at the beginning because I didn't really know the chords. I just knew this sounds good. But my mind, over time, it got complex again. So if people look and they say, I don't know what you're playing, and I don't know how you're playing it, but it sounds good. You know, it's like, no one's ever going to cover your stuff. And I said, well, I wouldn't say never, but the normal person probably wouldn't. Or
Who
attempt.
cares? Like, we got one person could do it. Why do we need anybody else?
Thank you. Thank you. I knew I liked you, Rusty.
So why don't you demonstrate one for us?
Sure. While I get my guitar out, I'll just give you a little background on this. The first song I'm going to do is in alternative tunings, and it's a tuning that I discovered not too long ago, and it was developed by Robert Fripp. If you recall, Robert Fripp was in King Crimson, and regular tuning, a guitar is tuned in fourths, except for the G and the B, which is a third. This one is tuned in fifths, so it's totally different and totally different chords and sounds. So let me get my guitar, talk amongst yourselves. This song is in the Robert Fripp tuning, and actually, like I said, I write about the mundane in the sense that we all know that with Zoom, we had a lot of friends, met a lot of friends, and many of them never in person. And we all talk about someday soon we're going to see you. And that's the goal. And so the name of this song is called Hello, My Friends. And it's about my friends on Zoom. Hello, my friends, far away and nearby. A chapter ends, but this is not goodbye. Sang some tunes, lived out life in Zoom. Had some laughs and even cried. Times are changing, schedules rearranging life. Returning to the norm, we'll make do, it's what we do. Music runs through our veins. This is not the end, we'll read again for real. Sometime soon. UK and beyond, East and West Coast songs, Middle East knows no bound. This bubble I call home, in trouble on my own. Friendships made, I'll cherish those. Times are changing, schedules rearranging life. Returning to the norm, we'll make do, it's what we do. Music runs through our veins. This is not the end, we'll meet again for real. Sometime soon. Times are changing, schedules rearranging life, returning to the norm. We'll make do, it's what we do. Music runs through our veins. This is not the end. We'll meet again for real sometime soon. Soon.
Wow.
Wow.
That, what a description of what we've all been through and the hope for the future. I mean, really, it's all right there.
Brilliant.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Now, you know, Flute 66, the band that Jan and I play with, we opened up for Robert Fripp.
Oh, really?
In his new band, Honey West.
It was a unique experience. Just right place, right time. Everything lined up, and you know, and there we were. It was fun. It was up in New Hope, Pennsylvania.
A little place called Havana's.
Yeah, yeah.
He's doing like
Whatever he wants.
well whatever he wants, but he's got his girlfriend and they do these really trippy things. He's got like a YouTube channel, and I subscribe to it, and it's like really outside.
Wow. I'm gonna have to find out where he gets his drugs.
Homegrown.
So I mean, you're very diverse in your style and everything. So that was a good example of it. So, what genres have influenced your music?
As I mentioned earlier, you know, being a child of the '60s, all that music as it came out influenced me. So, if you know, just off the top of my head, you know, I got into like, you know, Grand Funk, Black Sabbath, and then from there, jumping to Chick Corea, and then some real hardcore jazz like Miles Davis, acid jazz they call it, and then I got into like funk. And
I hear that.
Sylvester Stallone, Sly and the Family Stone, and all the outgrowths from that, and then of course Average White Band, and then you know, disco. I mean, whatever was needed, that's what you learn and that's what you go to. So all this stuff.
So you kept up with the times through disco
Oh, yeah.
and the like.
Oh, yeah.
I see. I think for many of us, or perhaps myself, I just stayed in that James Taylor mold and Die Hard stayed with it. I don't think I embraced the other genres, perhaps. Well, not as well as you have.
Well, you know, there's a downside to that because I'm influenced by so many different styles that it reflects in my writing, and so I really don't have any one style. It's you know, people. You know, I enter a lot of songwriting contests, and they have a list. And what type of music do you have? And I look through the whole list, and it's like, well, it's not folk, it's not this, it's not that, and it's nothing. And the closest thing is like indie or, you know, something like, and it's not even that.
Yeah.
So I call it Rick Page. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wonder how many genres have come through the world of indie, as you say it, and then just been accepted as regular forms. You know.
it's just a catch-all for anything that doesn't fit anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're up against all those that are, you know, really good with what they do and that their own genre that they couldn't put a label to. So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, do you feel like you're categorized, or people have kind of put you in a pigeonhole, like that kind of thing? It's
Well, I've heard this term a lot. Unique.
unique. Yeah, I guess,
Unique.
Yeah. Of course
So-
you have.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, okay, it means one thing, but at the same time, it's like I can't put any descriptor on it other than it's one of. You're unique.
Yeah.
You're-
That-
yeah, it's a way of saying you're weird.
Yeah, it's like, don't worry about cousin Charlie. He's just a little unique. you
Yeah.
know? So-
Exactly.
But it's
I get
okay.
that. Yeah, sure.
So recently, we know you faced some adversity of your personal life. Can you tell us how those changes have influenced your
And-
music?
And just a little further than that, our demographic, the people, the baby boomers that are in our group, and we're all kind of coming up against these things all of a sudden that we hadn't anticipated, and it looks like you've been traveling some of those paths.
Oh yeah. It was weird when I'm retired now. Yay.
Yay.
But when I worked for 30 years, I could count on one hand the number of days I was out sick. I mean, I was raised to, if you get up and you're not feeling that well, brush your teeth and go to work because you'll feel better. And most of the time you did.
Yeah.
So not having used all the sick time and everything, all of a sudden at the end of my career, 2015, I had cancer. I had breast cancer of all things.
Okay.
And they say, men get that? Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Well, that's an
And-
important message to send out. Absolutely.
Well, exactly. And every October when it's, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'm a proponent out there. So having that
You
as
don't
a
wear one of those
challenge-
pink hats, do you?
I wear a pink shirt.
Okay, that's good enough. It's the hat would freak me a little bit. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no, no, no. I wear a pink shirt.
Okay.
And so having to deal with that it was really negative, to say the least. And it's definitely a low point in my life. But being the person I am, I said, okay, I got to find something positive with this. So I took the negativity and I turned it into music. And I wrote a lot of songs having to deal with the downside of it and the reality of what it's like. And I had a collection of songs, and I decided I'm gonna cut a CD, and I did. And it's called Tales from the Big C. C is in cancer. And I recorded that. Unfortunately, it was released in December of 2019, just before the pandemic. So I never really had the proper release party and promotion of it and whatnot. So I mean, through the magic of Zoom and the internet, at least I've been getting my music out there that way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, going back to your point where we're all getting older and other things are catching up to us.
Yeah.
Having dealt with cancer, they said, oh, good news is all the cancer's gone, but you got this now, and then take care of that. And then now you got this,
Yeah.
and now you got this. And it's like, oh my God, and I guess
end.
another album's going to come out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate to tell the tale, but I was a nurse for 30 years, and I saw that it's not the diagnosis that gets you; it's the side effects, it's the related factors. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chemotherapy. Yeah, the
Chemotherapy.
gift that keeps giving.
sure. Immobility because you can't move around.
Oh, it's not fun. Not
contributing
fun.
factors. Yeah.
Certainly not. And and then I'm sure you had a nice juicy pandemic to write music about too. After that,
Oh, definitely. I read about the mundane. I mean, I've written songs about Zoom. And
Well, what a phenomenon to write about. I mean, think about it.
yeah, he.
I
had-
mean, look how it's changed my life and yours. It's
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
some good things came out of it. He was in a slump. He wasn't really writing much, and the pandemic got him writing. I wrote my first song in the pandemic, so
Yeah, it's such a sociological thing that happened to us, and I think we'll be learning about it for many years to come.
we will.
yeah. So what's next for you, Rick?
So next for me is trying to pick up the pieces, post-pandemic. So now we're navigating to what we call the new normal. A lot of I call it pre-COVID. I was in a number of musical bands, projects, duos, whatever, and all that went by the wayside until we went to loud things going by until we went to the internet. All that stuff was on hold. Now things are, at least around here, things are opening up. And I'm getting all these texts and emails. Hey, let's get back together and rehearse. We got some gigs and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, sure. And so I'm busy with that. One of the projects that I was involved in is a duo, and actually I back up. a female singer, and she does, all her stuff, and I play the guitar, and I just play backup vocals, for her, and that's fun because she does songs that I normally wouldn't do, so it's nice. It's like I like all music. And then, of course, some of the other bands are totally different. I mean, I was in a band that had 8 pieces in it. Brass section, we did like, Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire, and, Stevie Wonder, all this good stuff, Blood, Sweat and Tears. But I'll tell you, the economy just won't stand it. So you have to pare down to like 1 or 2, possibly 3. So out of that group, 3 of us are getting together and we're doing a trio because we were the like 3 vocalists, and I think the selling point these days is harmony. So if you have some really good harmony, you stand above everyone else, because there's so many out there that don't have harmony or not that good harmony. And so if you have something with harmony, people stand up and say, "Woo, that's good."
Well,
and then
it's-
you have good music.
It's something I preach to our band, Flute 66, all the time. If you've got somebody to harmonize with, well, then you're doing okay. But if you're really going to be competitive, you need 3 voices.
And not only that, you take something different. Hey, I play flute. You don't see that every day.
No.
Almost sometimes it feels a little like a cheap trick,
That's right. Yeah.
But you do it so well, though. I mean,
you.
it sounds great. It sounds great.
Well, perhaps someday. I mean, I don't imagine you'll be coming to Philadelphia anytime soon, but we would love it if you did. But maybe we could work on a virtual project together. I'd love to hear
Sounds
what
great.
Jan would do with some of your stuff.
I would love to try to do something with some of your stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be great.
So why don't you play us another song?
Yeah.
Okay. I had earlier I had mentioned that I was impressed by the poetry of Brian Bilston out of the UK, and this is one of my newest songs based with his words, and he was very creative and interesting in this particular one. It's one of those poems that you read from the top to the bottom and it means one thing, but you read from the bottom to the top and it's totally different. And this song is called Refugees, and I chose to take the positive side, which was the bottom to the top. So here we go. The world can be looked another way. Don't be so stupid to think that a place should only belong to those who are born there. These are people just like us. It's not okay to say, build a wall to keep them out instead. Let us share our countries, share our homes, share our food. They cannot go back to where they came from. We should make them welcome here, not cutthroats and thieves with bombs up their sleeves. Layabouts and loungers, chances scroungers. Build a wall to keep them out instead. We need to see them for who they really are. Should life have dealt a different hand, these haggard faces our help. Refugees.
Lovely, lovely.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
So before we let you go, do you have a website? Where can we buy your album that you released in December of 2020?
Where can we go to see you?
Well, you can probably see me online a lot. I don't have a website like a musical one, but I do have a Facebook page. So if you can, Rick Page, easy, RICPAGE. My CD is available to stream on all major platforms. I find that YouTube, not YouTube the video, but YouTube Music seems to be better than Spotify, unless you have a subscription, because there's so many ads and stuff that go along with it. But if you do a search for Tales from the Big C as in Cancer,
Yes.
or Rick Page, you'll find, and I have 13 songs, I believe. And I also have a SoundCloud account that I have songs that I'm waiting to get onto the next album, or I have new things that are out there. I've written so many songs because I've been writing for 50 years, so I don't have everything recorded, but I'm trying to get as much as I possibly can up there. But on SoundCloud, if you do a search for Rick Page, you can find me there.
Excellent.
Well, also, before we let you go, is there anything that you can advise or help those who are dealing with a medical problem right now and need a little bit of advice from someone who's been down that path?
Yeah, a lot of people offer to help in whatever way, and human nature is to say, no, I'm fine. I think it behooves you to take the help that's offered, because it makes them feel better because they're doing something for you. And at the same time, me in this instance, it will help me out. So people say, hey, do you need me to, do you need to talk to anyone? Do you need to go for a ride? Do you want to go out, or things like that? Do you need me to come over? I can go grocery shopping for you, things like that. At this point in time, I'm still self-sufficient, but I'm sure that things will change over time. And I'll tell you, people are wonderful. People are really wonderful, and that's my suggestion: is listen to people and do what they want.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah,
That is good advice.
absolutely.
I should take some of that sometime.
Absolutely. And listen to me more often.
I didn't say listen to Rusty. I said listen to people.
Well, thank you, Rick, for coming
Thanks
on our
so
show.
much, Rick. It was so much fun. It really was. And what a great opportunity to get to know you better. I mean, really, it's been one of the most wonderful things about this show.
Yeah, as one of our newer friends.
Yes, exactly. So very good.
All right. Well, thank
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
you.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you. Bye. Rusty, life is filled with challenges, but we can survive.
I thought it was like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're going to get.
That's about right. It sometimes requires great courage to set forth on a plan to make a better life.
Here's some advice from our good friend Arlen Bennett, who has endured his own struggles with adversity.
It's his song, Be the Change.
A woman stepped on a bus like any one of us after a hard-working day. She walked halfway back to a seat marked the blacks and took her place. She was someone who really understood how a law could be a crime. When she wouldn't give her seat to a white man on his feet. Yeah, it was time to be the change you want to see around you. Be the right in a world of wrong. Be the one to make a difference. Be the change. Be the change. Many years before, another place, another war, in the struggle to be free, a wise barefoot man had his own plan to fight the enemy. He said it makes no sense to use violence as a means to an end. And we must rise above what they would do to us, or we would be like them. So be the change you want to see around you. Be the right in a world of wrong. Be the one to make a difference. Be the change. Be the change. It's the pull of a lever. It's the sound of your voice. It's now or never. It's a choice to be the change you want to see around you. Be the right in a world of wrong. Be the one to make a difference. Be the change. Be the change. Be the change. Be the change.